Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Skye, and if you're new here, here are a couple of random facts about me. I don't like fizzy drinks that much. I get through half a can of Coke and that's it for me. And The Sword and the Stone is probably the most underrated Disney movie ever. I'm not the biggest fan of Disney, there are very few movies that I actually enjoy, but The Sword and the Stone, criminally underrated. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking with y'all about my favourite neutral palettes. Yes, this is not clickbait. Yes, I will be talking about actual neutral palettes. If you are new to my channel, you may not know that I don't like neutrals that often. I rarely wear neutral eyeshadow. It's not my thing. I'm a colour lover at heart. Colourful eyeshadows is my vice. Like, I love them so much. But y'all seem to be really interested in the favorite neutral palettes video, so I thought I would give you guys kind of an insight to what a colourful lover loves in a neutral palette, because you know, sometimes I get in a neutral kick. I'm actually wearing neutral makeup now because of this video, so let's get on into it. I feel like a couple of these you may not classify as neutral palettes, but to me they are. So let's start with the first one and the tiniest one. This is the Fenty Beauty Snap Shadows in number 7 Cadet. I really like this one. It's such a cute little palette. I classify this as a grungy neutral palette because, I mean, it's got a brown, like a khaki colour, this shimmery brown, which, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm never gonna use it. I don't like shimmery browns, but it has this gorgeous mustard shade in here and this beautiful metallic pale gold, and this mustard in this palette is my favourite mustard. I must admit, these Fenty Snap Shadow palettes, they're not the best formula, but they are still pretty nice. Like, I do really like this palette and I think it's perfect for travelling, which is the main reason why I asked for it for my birthday, but have I travelled at all this year? Absolutely not. The next palette is my oldest palette in my collection. I think this is actually my oldest palette, period, not just oldest neutral palette. But this is the Colourpop Dream Street palette that came out in collaboration with Kathleen Lights, and unfortunately it's no longer available, which really sucks because this is definitely, I think this was one of Colourpop's bestseller palettes, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, I've hit pan in Shooting Star and Moony right here. I love these eyeshadows. I find that Colourpop shadows are very hard to hit pan on, but this palette I seem to have no issue, clearly. This rose gold shade called Twinkle is so pretty. Let me just give you a cheeky little swatch of it, because this is, like, do you see that high shine? Like, what is that? What is that? But I do have a decent dip in Elfish right here. This is a really nice true neutral palette. It's got two warm neutrals right here. Well, that's not really a neutral, but it's got two warm neutrals, and if you cover those up, this palette is really a true neutral palette. It doesn't really lean warm or cool, but this palette is still really solid, and even though I don't support or buy from Colourpop anymore, I can still admit that this is a fantastic palette, and it's quite sentimental to me. I really like that palette quite a lot. Next palette, this one, a lot of people may not consider it neutral, but to me this is very neutral. This is the September Rose Brew palette. I do have a 3 looks 1 palette plus review video on this palette, so if you are curious to hear my full thoughts on this palette, do check out that video. But this palette is so stunning. I feel like this is something that both neutral lovers and colourful lovers really enjoy, because these two metallics here are so wet and gorgeous. I said in my review video that I really wish that there were more metallics in this palette, but the mattes are so beautiful and easy to blend, and I feel like if you have a deeper skin tone, this is a perfect neutral palette for you, because these colours on a deeper skin tone would show up as more neutral, at least to me. And also for me, orange is a neutral eyeshadow. I don't know, maybe it's because I don't like wearing orange on my eyes. I mentioned that in my previous video and some of y'all were mad at me. But I generally don't like orange eyeshadow, but this palette is so good for it. Like, this shade Pumpkin Spice, it's stunning. And actually, let me swatch one of the golds for you. This is Iced Tea. Like, again, this is super high shine and reflective. It kind of matches my jumper, actually. Which is quite nice. I feel like this palette is criminally underrated. Like, this is so underrated, it's insane. Because most people, when you think of September Rose, you think of the Slush palette, which is their big rainbow palette, but this palette right here is stunning, and also September Rose is black owned. Even better. I do love this one a lot. If I had to rank this one would probably rank as my 3rd favourite palette. I should have ranked them in this video, shouldn't I? Should have ranked them, but oh well. Another palette that you've been hearing me harp on for years and years at this point is the Nabla Soul Blooming palette. Now I remember doing a live on my IG and I asked, is this a neutral palette or is this a colourful palette? Because to me, this is like a muted colourful palette, because it has a couple of neutrals in here, like this shade, this shade, this shade, and this shade, but it has like the pinky tones and the blue purple tones as well, the indigo tones, not the blurples. It does have a bit of colour in here, but it still remains quite sophisticated and neutral. I really like that Nabla's eyeshadow palettes, even though they do lean more colourful, they are kind of more sophisticated colour, if you know what I mean. So for me, this is a neutral palette. I'm actually aiming on wearing this palette really soon with like the browns and this beautiful shade on my lid. Oh, I love Garden Gate so much, and this duochrome Philosophy, perfection. This is one of my favourite palettes in my collection, just in general. I think the next two palettes that I'm going to be talking about are two of my favourites in my collection as well. So, I mean, I do like me a little bit of a soft moment. This gives me like soft fairy vibes, and I do love that. Speaking of soft fairy vibes, the Odins Eye Alva palette. Oh my god, I love this palette. Oh my god, I love it so much. I've worn this so many times and I still haven't done a 3 looks 1 palette plus review with it. I will soon, I promise. I just need to figure out which ones I'm gonna do next. But every time I wear this palette, I just feel beautiful. The metallics in here, as you can see, are super high shine and reflective and glittery. And even though there's not many matte eyeshadows in here, I find that the metallics are really what make this palette stand out. Like, it's got some rosy colours here, a purple, it's got a yellow metallic, some like light colours, some like light bronzy champagne colours. I love this palette. This is one of those palettes that you wear it if you want to feel beautiful. It's such a romantically beautiful palette. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hand. I will swatch one of the shades right now. This is the shade Dahlia. Again, high shine metallic, as you can see right here. My camera is freaking out because look at these high shine metallics. I realized that I haven't swatched anything in the Soul Blooming, and I didn't swatch anything in the Colourpop and the Fenty, but it's too late to go back to the Fenty and Colourpop, so I'm just gonna quickly swatch Philosophy from Soul Blooming. Didn't realize I was doing swatches today, but here we are. That's Philosophy right here. You can't see the duochrome in it, but like, look at these metallics. I find that if a neutral palette has high shine metallics in it, it makes it more interesting to me. And this Alva palette is seriously so beautiful. Like, I look at it and I get happy. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is probably my favourite. I believe the Alva and this one are actually tied as my favourite neutral palettes ever. But this is the Kaleidos Futurism 7 Sashimi City palette. Y'all. Y'all. I have been ranting and raving about how much I love this palette for so long. I'm actually wearing this on my eyes today. I tried my hand at a halo eye. I'm not the best at halo eyes, I must admit, but you know, we love a trier. I truly believe that this is one of the best palettes of the year, and I was really surprised that I love this one so much. I remember when I saw this palette released, I was thinking, okay, I'm not gonna like that one. It's boring, it's neutral, not interested. But this is so good. So good. These two duochromes right here. Incredible. Incredible. I will swatch the shade Penthouse for you right now because it's literally one of my favourite metallics in my collection. Let's see if we can do this. Like, what is that? Stunning. It's super glittery, high shine, and beautiful. It's kind of got a green gold duochrome to it with a little bit of blue as well. And this shade is a pink to gold. Let's see if I can show you the gold. Oh, you can kind of see the gold there. To pink. It's so good. The mattes blend flawlessly. This is such a winner of a palette for me. Like, I love you. I really love you. If I could only recommend one neutral palette for you to get, or maybe two, I'll recommend two. I would suggest the Alva or the Sashimi City, or both if you love neutrals a lot. I really feel like that each neutral palette that I own serves a different purpose in my collection, and I really do love that about my little neutral palette collection. And you know, it's enough. I don't need any more, and it takes a lot for me to get inspired by neutrals, but especially this palette right here, Sashimi City. Like, I've been singing its praises since I got it in PR, and I am so happy. I'm so happy that I have it. And there we have it. That is it for me talking about all of my favourite neutral palettes in my collection. Let me know what y'all think. Are there any of these palettes that you have on your wish list, or if you own any, or what's your favourite neutral palette? I would love to know. Never would I thought in 2020 that I would actually enjoy neutrals, but you know what? I appreciate them. I can appreciate a neutral palette here and there sometimes. Full details of this makeup look are already on Instagram, which is beautyybyskye right here. Do follow me in there if you want to see more makeup content from me. I promise that most of my looks are not this neutral, and I do mostly colourful, but you know, we have a lot of fun on my IG. We do lives every week. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you here. We like to talk about a bunch of different makeup, opinions, tutorials, that sort of thing. It's a big jumble on this channel, I find. And as always, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!